Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be reviewing The Infinite Noise by Lauren Shippen. So quick disclaimer before you guys start this video, I ended up actually forgetting that I had my fan on the whole time while I was recording this. And I have a really bad mic, as I'm sure you can probably tell in general if you've watched any of my videos. But it makes it even worse when there's any background noise. And this was just like a really loud fan right behind me. So you're probably going to hear, I don't think it's super obvious, but my voice definitely sounds really fuzzy or weird. And honestly, that's it. So if this is your first time watching one of my videos, I promise my quality isn't always this bad. Still not super great, but it's not this bad usually. So anyways, let's get into the video. This book was a very quirky and beautifully written story about a boy who discovers a difficult power in himself and finds someone who helps him understand that. This book was primarily a 4-star for me for most of the book, with the end dropping it to a 3. I'm going to talk about most of my feelings, and even though it reveals some of the plot, it's not really any spoilers because it's what you should be expecting. And honestly, I actually think if you go into this book with these expectations, you will end up liking it more. So for starters, if you guys don't know about this book, it is an LGBT representation book, so there is gay characters in it. And it's about a popular jock football boy, Caleb, who discovers the power to not be able to read people's minds. So he's not a telepath, but he's actually an empath, which means he can feel people's feelings. And the other main character is Adam, who's a normal person, who does have depression and is kind of getting bullied at school and doesn't really have any friends and stuff like that. So they end up meeting, and the story kind of goes from there. So first I want to start with what I thought I knew about this book going into it. I knew it had gay representation. I thought it was about a jock who had the ability to actually read minds. Ended up connecting with a nerdy, introverted fellow student. The first thing I was actually wrong about, and I was actually glad that I was, is that he doesn't have telepathy. As I described earlier, he has empathy. So he can actually feel the emotions of others, not read their mind, which I actually think works so much better here. Even though I'm a huge telepathy fan, like it's one of my favorite powers, the author really had fun like painting this power for us to imagine. And like literally painting, like it's sort of like a pun, but she literally uses a lot of unique color references to describe his powers. It was more unique, and it adds a lot more tension and drama because the feelings make it difficult to control what are actually his feelings and what are other people's emotions. So it also gets a lot deeper and expands more on these abilities and emotions than I thought it would. So I was pleasantly surprised by this. So this again made it interesting and made one of the main points of our second character, Adam, more intriguing because he does suffer through depression. And reading about depression through this like emphatic color filter was so palpable. Unfortunately though, this brings me to the first thing I was wrong about, and I say wrong in air quotes even though you can't see me, because it was more that I didn't know if Caleb and Adam were actually going to get together. And as someone who really enjoys gay novels, I found myself for the first time actually hoping this is going to remain a platonic relationship, and this is definitely not the case. I felt this way because honestly Adam and Caleb helping each other understand their conditions in a platonic way felt much more meaningful and special. I can't completely explain how, but they just didn't fit, which is actually kind of funny because one of the other characters in the story literally say that they fit together. But I'm gonna try my best to explain it. So I mean, they were cute, and they're not necessarily a bad couple, but I just didn't feel it, and it felt disappointing that it didn't turn out differently. You know, furthermore on this topic, as I stated before, Caleb feels other people's emotions, which then begin to affect his own. So I thought when I still wasn't 100% sure if they were going to get together, that he actually didn't like Adam, and he was just feeling what Adam felt for him because Adam is openly gay and Caleb is not. And actually, I'll get to it later, but I don't know if he's even gay at all. We'll talk about it. So it did not turn out this way, and he ended up liking Adam for his feelings. Like Caleb liked Adam because of Adam's feelings. So there's this kind of vagueness about whether Caleb is actually gay. It's kind of just like, I don't know, I just like Adam, which is not necessarily bad, but I feel like this wasn't pulled off very well. I still didn't understand it and couldn't feel why Caleb actually chose Adam as a romantic partner. I actually thought there was this nice underlying theme about getting to know someone and changing the negative feelings by reaching out to them and just being there for someone. So I really feel like I missed this opportunity to show this without the romance, because how often in our world, especially like in high school and stuff like that, could you just probably make someone's life infinitely better just by like being there? I don't know how many of you guys have actually heard this like really cliche story, but it's about this kid who's like walking home and like this other guy sees him getting bullied because he has all his books or whatever, and they like bully him and they like knock all his shit out of his hands or whatever, and they walk away, and the other guy who saw this goes up and kind of helps him. He's just like, why do you have all these books? This is so weird. He's like, haha, no reason. And they end up kind of like being friends or something like that, and they end up like growing and being friends and whatever, and then he ends up becoming like valedictorian. And so in his senior year, when he presents this speech, he talks about how the day that his friend found him being bullied was the day he was going to kill himself, and that he actually was taking home all of his books so that his mother wouldn't have to actually clean out his locker after he did it. So I thought it was like a really, well, it's actually kind of a hopeful story, not really a sad story. But my point to this is just to show what this can do for someone. Like just going there and just being there for someone can do so much. Like Caleb didn't have to have this power to make Adam's life better. And I really didn't like that they had to put this romantic aspect to it. I feel like it's such a powerful message to say, like, you can do this with anyone. You're not gonna like fall for each other. You don't have to like be boyfriend and boyfriend or boyfriend girlfriend or whatever. It's like just go and like find someone and like be there for them, and it will help, So furthermore on this, it didn't even really feel like Adam or Caleb should be looking for a romantic partner like during their time, but rather like platonic one. I mean, like, hell, if you take out any time Caleb says he's interested in being physical with Adam, or any of their physical scenes in general, it basically could remain the exact same story. I think it just would have felt more natural, even. I think it would be pretty beautiful for a gay person to find a deep bond with, like, a straight guy, and vice versa, a straight guy having the security and like the confidence to befriend a gay person, and for them to get this really deep bond, and that they could share their emotions and secrets and everything without developing a romance. It felt so much more powerful to me in my head, that just seeing this missed opportunity made me not enjoy the book as much. Of course, if you literally don't come up with your entirely own story like I did in your head, you'll probably like this book just fine. So regardless of all this, I still really liked it, and I had like a good 4-star experience. Like I said, it was still relatively good on its own, though it definitely would have 5-star if, like I said, if it just stuck to being platonic. Unfortunately though, that was until the end. So if you guys don't want to know what happened to the end, stop here, but if you've already read it or you just don't care, you kind of want to know, definitely kind of listen for the spoilers. The spoilers aren't really bad. Again, it's a romance contemporary novel. We know people are falling for each other, so most of it's not going to really like throw you off too much. So anyways, here is some spoiler discussion about why the ending really just fell apart for me. So if you haven't read the book, I will briefly describe that throughout the book it is revealed that there are other people like Caleb who have special powers. So one of them even briefly introduced is Damien, and he actually has his origin story explained in the second book, or so the description says. The second book isn't out yet. I don't know if I'll actually really get to it because it doesn't have anything to do with this first one, but anyway. There's also this vague hint to like an organization that like studies them, and like all of a sudden really close to the end, where it really felt like the author didn't know how she wanted to end it, we have this telepath who was introduced in the book, but this specific scene, she just sort of randomly shows up off screen in front of Adam and his parents. And his parents were very unsubtly described as clearly working on or being aware of people with powers, and she ends up reading their minds, and they have something to do with experimenting on people with powers. And we get this all in a very clunky and awkward scene where Caleb just like tells his therapist, Dr. Bright, who is the person that actually works with powered people and like helps them. And Adam is also there when he tells the story about what the telepath Chloe said. So again, it's really awkward because you have Caleb, who wasn't there at all, explain a scene that happened between Chloe, Adam, and his parents that we were not a part of. So it's really awkward when you read it because he's just sitting there like blabbing about it. He's just like, oh, Chloe said this, and the doctor's like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, well, Chloe meant this. And she's like, okay, I don't understand. Well, Chloe said this. And it's really awkward. It was terribly written. And then Adam shows up, and he pretty much does the exact same thing, the way he explains the situation to Adam. And they both end up kind of like freaking out, and you find out that Adam sort of told his parents about Caleb. So Caleb feels really betrayed, and he ends up like just leaving the therapy session. And then we get these really weird, very short one-page chapters about them thinking about each other like for the rest of the semester and all over summer, about how they're just thinking about each other but they're not talking. So yeah, the author completely skips over the summer, which this is where I have to like input my huge bias, because honestly I love summer, and even if it may be kind of cliche, I was actually really looking forward to them having this really cute ending in summer, because I love summer. I think it's a great time to be with your friends, be with the ones you love, be with your boyfriend or girlfriend. And I really hate that she just completely skipped over it and didn't end there. And it actually makes it even worse, because what happens after this is, so right when they get back to school, I think it honestly maybe like a week or something into it, or a day, I don't even know. They just come back together and like apologize and make up and like just get back together, and like that's it. I honestly don't know why they had to skip all the way to the school year again, except that I guess that they wanted to show a scene where Caleb stands up for Adam one more time. Adam gets bullied, and Caleb comes in and defends him, and then Caleb's like, hey, meet me here, and then they go and meet, and yeah, I don't think it was a super powerful, like, again, they're just sort of teenagers, so I don't think they had a lot to really hash out and like apologize for, but they did the whole thing where they both apologize for the things that they're at fault for, and they end up like getting back together. So yeah, this whole rushed ending felt so bad, and like it like let me down. I just couldn't understand like why they had to end it the way they did. And then like lastly, one other thing I want to talk about was Adam's depression, though it's not entirely forgotten necessarily, but it's like it's left completely undeveloped. So I was really looking forward to them like addressing it and getting some really like great moments in it. Like I said, it's not forgotten, so there are scenes with it where she describes what Caleb's power is feeling about his depression. You know, Adam reveals that he has depression, and I don't know, it didn't really go anywhere. Like I didn't get that satisfying feeling of Caleb understanding or like working together, and you know why his power helps Adam with his depression or anything like that. But like didn't really get any of that. It was kind of just left out there. It honestly kind of reminded me a lot of my book, because my book handles some tough topics like bipolar, you know, Alzheimer's, kind of stuff like that. And there's some things that I leave out on purpose because I don't fully understand it. So I kind of feel like that's what this book did. It's like they kind of wanted to touch on it and they wanted to represent it, but they didn't really want to dive too far deep. But unlike with my book, I don't have a good opportunity to explore that. Like I don't have someone that has powers that can literally sense depression and not really do anything with it. So I just feel like the author spent way too much time of the book like dragging her feet and getting them together and like sorting out their feelings for each other. I feel like if she would have cut a lot of that out and been able to really expand on the end and not rush it, it was just so close to being such a solid, great book. You know, she could have expanded more about them figuring out about Adam's parents, knowing about powered people, and them kind of having this fight and not talking and then getting back together and stuff like that. I just wanted so much by the end of this book that it was like pretty sad and disappointing. So yeah, unfortunately, I wish I had a lot more things to say about this book. Except I think if you don't think about it too much, like I said, you go in with the expectations that I described earlier, and you're not like me to where you have this huge other preference and expectation for the book, I think you'll like it. I mean, it's pretty good. It's beautifully written. I love Caleb and the way he discusses his powers. And Caleb and Adam are pretty cute as a couple. That's going to wrap up my review for The Infinite Noise. Like I said, with the right expectations, you get a pretty fun story and some like beautifully written powers. So, you know, if you've read this book and you have anything you want to say, let me know below. If you want to discuss anything, you know, comment on it. If you have your own booktube channel and you've also reviewed this book, definitely link your video below. I'd love to go watch it and see someone else's opinions. And that's going to be it for me. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye now.